Hey guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. So we're going to get involved in a controversial talking point on this channel because I got an excellent question from one of my subscribers that asks, Sean, what defines a safe haven asset in the collectibles marketplace? Now, I'm not going to get too complex in this video. If you don't know what a safe haven asset is, I'm going to define it in this video. And this is a term that comes from the financial markets, meaning Wall Street and the like. All is what a safe haven asset is. It's an asset that is defined as those that maintain their value, appreciate, or otherwise outperform when financial markets crumble. However, safe haven assets are not guaranteed to produce positive returns in all market downturns. So what I mean by that is, even if you have what is known as a safe haven asset, it is not guaranteed to produce a positive return in all market conditions. So that's really what you need to understand. Now, historically, one of the most popular safe haven assets of all time is considered to be gold by far and large. And again, I have nothing against those of you out there that want to put 10% of your portfolio in gold and silver and precious metals. My criticism is of the people out there that put all their money in gold and silver because they think at some point in the future, the overall economic system or the financial system is going to collapse. I've talked about this in depth. I've stated why that will most likely never happen in the United States. That does not mean that the US dollar will always be pegged as the number one currency worldwide going forward. I'm not stating that. But even if the dollar is not pegged as the number one currency going forward, that does not automatically mean that the U.S. economic structure and system that we have is going to collapse and everything's going to go to zero. That is a fallacy. That is a fallacy that is perpetrated mostly by conspiracy theorists, unfortunately. And as a result, when you turn on YouTube and you see all these videos devoted to silver stacking or gold buying or gold hoarding, whatever it is, you have to take those videos with a grain of salt. Ironically, those channels, those particular videos, they get far more subscribers and viewers than I'll ever have because I speak the truth. Again, I've said this before. Most people want the sizzle. They don't want the steak. If the steak is overdone, if the steak is not to their liking, they don't want it anymore. They just want the sizzle. My channel, what I'm doing on my channel is not hype driven. There's nothing hype driven on this channel. I present to you the facts as I've learned them and as I continue to live by them. So I hope that helps. So what does this have to do with antiques and collectibles? Now, up until this point on this channel, I've never really talked about safe haven assets in the collectibles marketplace. If you go back and you watch some of my earlier videos, I do talk about the idea of blue chip collectibles, and I talk about investment grade antiques and collectibles. For a refresher, for any of my new subscribers, any of my new viewers, an investment grade antique or collectible is simply an item of collectible nature that is in the top 15% of the market as it relates to condition, rarity, and demand. So for instance, if you collect comic books and you come to me and you go, Sean, I have an amazing Spider-Man 129 in CGC 9.6 condition. Congratulations. You have what can be considered an investment grade collectible. That does not mean that that item is a safe haven asset. So what I want to state directly right here is that if something is an investment grade collectible or antique, it does not automatically correlate to being a safe haven asset. And this is a very hard pill for a lot of collectors, for a lot of investors to swallow when they come into these markets. Another thing, before I define a blue chip collectible, another thing I got to state is there's a lot of people that love to argue with me that, Sean, my Great Wada video game is a safe haven asset. Or, Sean, my Pokemon card is a safe haven asset. or my Magic the Gathering card is a safe haven asset. This is what's really, really going to drive you guys nuts. But by and large, if the market where that item is selling into is not established or not mature, meaning the market's speculative, by nature, that particular item cannot be defined as a safe haven asset because there's no price stability. If you look at the price of a first edition base Charizard holofoil card, well, a couple of years back, you could have had that card for what, 15, 20, 25,000? Now, look at what they're selling for. There's no price stability in that market. As a result, it cannot be defined as a safe haven asset overall by most experts in the trade until that market settles. And this is something that a lot of collectors don't like to talk about because in their mind, well, Sean, there's nothing more iconic than a first edition base Charizard holofoil Pokemon card in PSA 10. And I agree with you. It's not going to go to zero anytime soon. But it does not meet the definition of a safe haven asset at present time because the market's too speculative. And by me stating that, I guarantee you people have unsubscribed from this channel because they don't want to hear the truth. In their mind, they're going to go on a collecting forum and they're going to go, did you see this video by Sean from Reserved Investments? He told me that this Pokemon card that just sold for $229 is not a safe haven asset. I'm sorry, it's too speculative. By its very nature, because the market is not established or mature, it cannot be a safe haven asset. Now, what does this have to do with blue chip collectibles? To be fair, and I'm going to give you Pokemon card collectors credit right now, you can claim that your $200,000 plus Charizard card is a blue chip collectible, and let me explain why. A blue chip collectible is defined as a collectible selling in an established or mature or even speculative market that is considered to be in the top 3 to 5% of the market for that specific type of collectible. Now, that does not mean it's guaranteed to be a blue chip collectible going forward. Beanie Baby collectors learn that the hard way. Pop collectors learn that the hard way. There are certain items, even in speculative markets, that are considered blue chip collectibles. But as that market transitions or fails to transition from speculative to established or from established to mature, what do you think happens? Some of those items can fall in value. I'm not saying they're going to crash. I'm not comparing Pokemon to Beanie Babies for all my critics out there. We could just as easily use as an example of Hummels. If you guys remember, Hummels were very popular and very collected back in the 1980s, even in the 1990s. Even to this day, there's a very small percentage of that market where Hummel figurines do sell in the thousands of dollars. But what happened was, when that market tried to transition from an established market to a mature market, collectors did not go along with that transition. And as a result, most Hummels have lost literally anywhere from 40 to 70% of their value today. The market is no longer lucrative in the antiques and collectibles trade unless you have some of the rare Hummels out there today that sell for thousands of dollars in the secondary market. But if you're buying those particular Hummels, there's no investment potential in them whatsoever. The market's completely collapsed. So that's a prime example how some of these markets change as they go from speculative to established to mature. Hummels had no problem going from speculative to established. But when they got to established and tried to merge over to the antique side of the trade and become a mature collecting market, that market pretty much the bottom dropped out. And that is a prime example as to why these markets change. That's why I do not agree with all my critics out there that say, Sean, Pokemon's going to be the next big thing. The next big thing in relation to what? It's a speculative market. Its next step is sometime over the next 10, 20, 30 years, it's going to have to cross over and become an established market in the trade. Now, I don't know about you. I'm going to be 44 years of age this December. I don't have 30 years to wait to see how Pokemon turns out. If you're 20, you want to wait in your 50s, by all means, you have at it, Hawes. But me, I got better things to do when I'm in my 60s and 70s than worry about Pokemon. Just my opinion. Now, how does this correlate to how we use this knowledge? Well, if you're looking at safe haven assets, traditionally in the antiques and collectibles trade, you have to go after an item that meets the definition of an investment grade antique or collectible, that also meets the definition of a blue chip collectible that is in an established or mature market. So what do I mean by that? You're going to have to invest in, if you want established markets, certain pre-1975 comic books, which are still speculative to a certain degree, but they are part of an established collecting market, sports cards, coins, currency, firearms, edged weapons, artwork, historical documents, first edition collectible books, traditional antiques. You cannot come on this channel and tell me that your Pokemon card is a safe haven asset, or a booster box of War of the Sparks from Magic the Gathering is a safe haven asset. I'm sorry, it is not. It is nowhere near that realm. So use the information in this video for what you will. You can even use it to tear me up if you'd like in the comment section, but all is what I am doing is providing you the facts as to how the antiques and collectibles trade works when we apply the fundamentals of economics and finance to it. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did not, again, that's what the comment section is for. Let me know. Thank you and have a great night.